It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast with Steve.
Flip your head from side to side while that water cascades off of that flowing mane of yours. If it makes it so every person you encounter doesn't think less of you.
Wait, did that happen?
Because they know that they're just dealing with a stooge.
Kyle.
This isn't a cheap endeavor. In coming weeks, we'll have to get to the entire process of this happening, because this is a big deal, and one that I think is your dumbest venture yet.
Not really sugarcoating that, are you? You know, I started to feel bad about the bald insults, but
We'll reel that back in.
Live on tape from APS 3 point whatever, it's the Steve and Kyle podcast.
back at it. 2-a-days today. That's what we're calling them now. Steve and Kyle podcast 2-a-days.
It's been a weird few months around here. Weird to the point of where we've never done this before.
It's been like a summer vacation.
I'd like to get your opinion on it. We talked, I don't know, 2 weeks ago about...
I don't know, was it 2 weeks ago?
That's what I mean.
It could have been 1 week in the future. I don't know. Everything's all out of sorts.
About how we had been recording a bundle just based on your Tennessee, the poop and vomit trip.
Yeah.
And
yes.
me being gone as well.
You were away, or you camping.
Camping, that's right. And then you were gone with the family again. So we had to get a bunch in the bag because we're not like the rest. We're not taking summer vacation, right?
No.
We're not like you lazy teachers. Working, 8.5 months a year.
Working your part-time jobs.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Mrs. McKiernan.
And Mr.
Yeah, Hobie. If you're ever looking to get a rise out of a teacher.
Yeah.
Mention... Why, you guys get all the summers off, right? And see how that goes.
Yeah, ask them what they do all summer. Oh, it must be rough.
But that's kind of nice, right? 2 weeks around Christmas and all summer off?
I mean, yeah, it is. And if I was a teacher, I'd say, yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, and then see you in August.
Yeah, you could have done it too.
But anyway, I was curious about we've put, 8 episodes in the can in half as many weeks. Mm-hmm. How have you interpreted that? How have you felt about that? Like when we sit back down today, does it feel the same to you? Does it feel any different?
It's kind of a different energy level.
I don't like it.
Really?
Yes.
See, I do because it's, I don't know. There's more time in between the times that we interact now, in person at least.
Right.
So I feel like there's, I don't know. It's kind of like when you go back to school at the beginning of September. And going back to school sucks, but that first day was always kind of fun because you haven't seen
electricity.
You haven't seen your friends in a while. It's like,
yeah.
oh, so and so got a new haircut. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, maybe a poor example.
I mean, I got a beard trim.
Apologies for.
Don't know why you bring that up in public.
For shooting you down.
See,
3 minutes into the.
To peel back the curtain a tiny bit, what our plan going forward is once we're settled in, regarding vacations and time off and whatnot. When we're in a regular schedule, the plan is to record 3 times for every 4 episodes.
Yeah, so we'll do single episode, double episode.
And so what you'll be seeing is hopefully the return of a somewhat regular Fast Five and other items. We haven't somehow... 7 years in, we haven't run out of things to talk about and do, and I don't think there's any concern of that.
Oh, no, I think it's coming. I think
you think now this is the year?
I think the end of this year.
We look at each other and go, we make...
So you see the game?
Yeah, it was, the gas prices last week. You think this is the one, though? You think this is where we stretch we stretch, like it's one of those gummy candies.
Right.
And we have now pulled it so far.
Well, I mean, to date myself a bit, it's like the old Stretch Armstrong toy.
Right.
Where you and your friend could each grab an arm and run to opposite sides of the yard. And that thing would not let up. And then, as we all know, the best prank in the world is to then let go of your end. And it shoots across the yard at the speed of light and hits your friend right in the cheek.
I'll post it on the poll on Twitter or X or, whatever you are.
Oh, do we have a Threads yet?
We don't have a Threads. We could add one, but I don't have it in me.
I think we technically have one. I think everybody
have an
Instagram. Everybody that has a Facebook or an Instagram has a Threads. I threaded once.
Did you?
Yeah, threaded the first day.
I just don't have it in me.
I think I said something like, Threads reminds me of a store at the 90s mall that would have been next to Lids. I thought that was a pretty good take on it.
Yes. I'm kind of bummed you didn't leave that for the pod tent.
Apologies.
I'm posting that on our poll on Twitter. Is our stretchy gummy of content ending in 2023? Because I think it's a legitimate concern.
Okay.
And I think that time comes where you and I look at each other and our eyes both die to a certain percentage, and we realize this is it.
Yeah.
The gummy snaps.
It's been a good run.
And we turn it off and we leave. That's how we know it's time to call it.
Yeah.
But yes, that's the plan going forward. So yeah, we haven't seen each other again in a couple weeks, which it is what it is. It's not a huge deal. But yeah, it's felt weird to me just because I don't remember what we did last week or talked about last week.
It's caused me to, I used to do this a lot more where I would, throughout the week, if there was something that popped in my head, I would make a note on my phone of it.
Right.
And then I would remember it. And I kind of got out of that habit, but I'm back into it now. So it's, oh man, there was one thing that I really want to show you, a picture that I have that I wanted to send you. I think it was about an hour after you left here the last time when we recorded.
Okay, so 2 weeks ago.
So 2 weeks ago, I've been holding on to this for 2 weeks.
So
and I'm like,
at no part did you think I got to send it to him now?
I did. I probably had it attached. Yeah, ready to send the text, and I said, nah, let's not do that.
I can't wait. But we need to get to. We concluded. I think it was last week's episode. Apologies if this is all ramshackled. With me having a brief discussion of what I hope to be the very final instance of me interacting with my neighbor. Mm-hmm. Cordially, uncordially, whatever.
Yeah, that's right. So this goes back a couple years. Their kids kind of shunned Reed.
Yeah, just enough. And
that's crazy when how that affects you when it happens to your kids.
Yes.
It's like happening to you times 100.
Yeah. Like watching him, come across the yard weeping, crying because the kids said no, they can't play with them, they're too busy.
Now, granted,
that's enough for me.
Granted, kids are really stupid.
Oh, they're the dumbest things on the planet.
And cry at nearly everything.
Yes.
But yeah, when it has something to do with so-and-so was mean or, I tried to be friends or anything along those lines where it's personal relationship related, oh boy, that gets me. And luckily, I mean, Evelyn's she'll be 4 soon. She hasn't experienced a ton of that yet, but I feel like with her doing preschool last year, preschool again this year, then eventually kindergarten next year.
I'd like to see her jump to like first grade though. Really, really skip a few and really just, iron to the fire.
Okay.
I don't want to say you're wasting her time, but
No. I mean, we've been talking about really cracking the whip and, kid can't even read yet. Like, seriously?
I know.
You're almost 4. What have you been doing the last 3.5 years?
Right. Honestly, outside of, pooping in a diaper, like, have you not been reading any books?
What the hell?
Yeesh, Pete. So yeah, I was, that impacted me enough to where, I mean, I've made it very clear over the years on here anyway, that I really didn't want anything to do with them anyhow.
It's not your thing.
Right. But
social interaction, not so much your thing.
With neighbors, that I think is, in my mind, one of the more superficial relationships that you'll encounter in your life as a neighbor.
Still waiting for the answer to the question that was brought up to you 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. When is the last time you made a friend?
Yeah, that's 2010.
So, still waiting. If there's ever an update to that,
listen,
I need you to, send up the bat signal.
Yes.
No matter what I'm doing.
Emergency pod.
We will convene here. You walk in the door. Don't say a word except record. I hit record. We don't have an intro. This is just a cold open. And it's you saying, I got some big news.
I made a friend today.
Made a friend. There's been an exchange of personal information.
Yeah.
Phone. Although for you, no, it doesn't even have to be that. That's like best friend level.
Oh, yeah. You're not getting a phone number. You might get maybe I'll see you again. And then, like a serendipity thing. Like that's how it would have to work out.
Right. There's no, hey, follow me on Threads. That's not happening.
No. I would. That was a big era for me, though. Back in 2009, I made a friend.
Who was that?
That was my friend Jason.
Okay.
And then
Jason that I know?
Yes.
Okay.
And then 2010, we found the internship at the radio show, and I've been knowing you since. So, I mean, that was back to back.
I've been knowing you since. That's the most committed you've ever been to a relationship.
Yeah, I'm about to post that. I've been knowing you since a committed relationship because I feel like...
Now make sure you put that in quotes. Okay. Boy, I didn't know things were so serious.
When I was listening to this, to put the intro together for this episode, listening to this discussion of the neighbor tale, and you asked me that question about when I last made a friend.
Right.
I actually sat and thought. And I think I may have an update.
Okay.
But it's someone that I've seen once in 7 years.
Boy, I don't know if that's a friend.
But I talk to him, I would argue, text almost daily.
Really? Okay,
yeah.
So this is somebody you haven't seen in 7 years.
Once.
Seen once in 7
years? Yeah, we went down to visit him in St. Louis.
I'll back off. I have many friends like that.
Right, and it's just because he moved.
Yeah. So Bob. Bob, right. I text with on a regular basis, see him maybe once, maybe twice a year.
Was the last time you saw him for Jeep End? When he came out for the big Jeep weekend?
No, I've seen him since then.
His wedding.
Yeah, I saw him at his wedding.
Right.
I've seen him since his wedding. Me and Bob and our other friend Ken, we have a group text, and we text each other not on a daily basis, but at least a couple times a week.
How would you put Frank? Where would you place that? Like talk, not daily, weekly, monthly?
I couldn't tell you the last time I saw Frank was at my bachelor party.
Okay.
And that's
5 years?
6 years.
6 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just things change.
No, you're right. It's totally
but people
possible.
move, whatever. So, friendship's different.
I'm kind of grateful for that too, because before smartphones, social media, and everything, it was a lot more difficult. It wasn't like before you could shoot someone a text. It was a lot more
landline or mail a letter.
Yeah, it was a lot more difficult to keep in touch with somebody.
Right.
So,
and unless you had, I always felt weird back in the day as a child or as a youth trying to call a friend to see.
Hey,
I felt like you had to have something like, hey, I need things to talk about. Unless you're just saying, hey, can so and so come out and play?
Yeah. But man, I remember. I mean, I'm sure that you were the same way too. It's like I used to spend hours on the phone just talking, but not really talking.
Right.
Especially once it branched out and I was like, oh, now I'm going to talk to a girl. I'm going to call a girl on the phone. I remember the one girl that I dated when I was in sophomore or junior year of high school, Kristen. We used to spend hours on the phone, and you get off the phone after 2 hours. I couldn't tell you anything that we had actually talked about because it was nothing. You didn't say anything. But yeah, it's crazy how different it is now.
Right. And
back in my day,
which makes it, I guess I shouldn't say surprising, because for some reason you have decided in your early 30s that you are in friend-making mode.
Oh, God, yes.
You mentioned it when you moved in here. You had the big idea of, getting a bunch of hay bales and blowing up a projector and, showing
that is
episodes of Ren and Stimpy or whatever you were going to do.
Might be inappropriate for the children. So, we'll have to stick to... Look, we are in high gear in Paw Patrol mode. I mean, we went to Paw Patrol night at the baseball game the other night. I was going to text you to see if you wanted to come along. We had an extra ticket. because I stupidly
you did?
stupidly bought 4 tickets, not realizing that we didn't need one for Nicky because kids under 2 are free.
Did you put him in his seat though because you paid for it? So we made him sit there.
No, we did the family picnic area. So we had a picnic blanket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, we got to meet Sky.
Wow.
Got to meet Chase. It was a big night. Big night.
So you'd think at this point it would be Paw Patrol movie for the neighborhood. Rest of the residents be damned.
Yeah.
If you had one neighbor come to you after this thing's planned.
Yeah.
And again, you've got the hay bales, you've got the giant inflatable projector, and it's set up in your driveway.
Right.
Everything down to the time it's going to start.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I'm going to rent the popcorn machine from the local rental place.
Yep. Probably got an ice cream truck going to swing through around 8:30.
And, of course, ice cream prepaid. I'm going to pay for all that.
Wow.
Yeah, look. When you're on money bags like this guy here.
Well, I mean, this is your idea. That would make it memorable. You know, if all the kids are able to run up to the ice cream truck and get whatever you want. Well, you know, your eyes turn, not the green money signs, but the red ones. and the signs go down.
Look, we're very used to that here on this podcast.
Yeah, so nothing new.
It's a familiar sign. It's if anything, it's comforting.
Nothing new. But if you had one neighbor come up to you in the Zach, say, hey, I think it's too loud. You know, it hasn't happened yet. Could you put the kibosh on this? Boy. What do you do?
So
because
while it's happening? So
no, before. So like, let's say day of.
Okay.
Even. So it's all planned to the T. The weather's fine, whatever. Mm-hmm. But now you're in the spot. Steve's dream movie night for the Zach.
Look.
Or possibly perturb the one neighbor who's not interested. What are you doing?
I think it depends on the neighbor. Mm-hmm. There are some neighbors whose opinions hold a little more value to me. There are some who don't hold any value to me.
That you would have no issue.
I would just say, look, man, it's
maybe close the blinds, put on a movie of your own.
You shouldn't have waited until the day before. If you had told me when I first sent out the neighborhood flyer, I would have considered it. No, I wouldn't. By the way, I think we got some action in the Zach. I think. Oh,
do we want to interrupt?
Hold on. Silly me.
Do we want to do that right now? Well, you know what? Let's get to it now, and then we'll get back to.
I don't know why I didn't have this ready.
In a cul-de-sac, a little up the road, there's a guy named Steve who you may or may not know. His neighbors knew him from his side gig show. When Steve moved in, away they all to go. The birders, the widow, and the volleyball players, the silent neighbors and the secret layer. Just wave your hand, just wave your hand. It's Zach! Got a folding card table and 2 microphones. It's Zach! Got 2 dead neighbors, the others moved away. It's Zach! Got a folding card table and 2 microphones. It's Zach! Got 2 dead neighbors, the others moved away.
All right, now that we're officially in the Zach.
That's in case you couldn't hear that at the end. 2 dead neighbors. The others moved away.
As far as I know, well, no, there is a dead neighbor. There's at least one.
Oh, no question.
2, I believe.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a joke that you brought 2 things, like death and moving.
Right. I basically moved into the cul-de-sac and said, here's my smallpox blanket.
Yeah. You're the Christopher Columbus of the Zach.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm posting all these.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously. Is it a fact that no offense that Steve brought death and moving to the Zach? And are you the Christopher Columbus of the Zach?
Fully expect to be on the losing end of both of these polls, and that's okay. I feel like I probably owe you 1 or 2.
So what are the happenings going on in the Zach that are apparently, like, you seem pretty jazzed about this?
I think there's some movement.
Movement, like people moving?
Yeah, we've had...
not surprising.
Since, let's see. I think that other than us, there's people across the street. They moved in about a year and a half.
Is that Justin with a
Nope.
Y and no? Okay.
Different couple, 2 young kids.
Was that the house with the elderly woman who presumably did pass
Nope,
away?
Nope, different. the whole cul-de-sac has turned over except for one family.
Okay.
And this family, I would say when we moved in, we've been here almost 6 years. I don't know how many kids they have, but the youngest of them was in high school at the time, has since graduated high school. He's probably in his second or third year of college. And I think that the empty nesters are prepping for a sale.
Getting ready to downsize, maybe?
Boy, there's been a lot of activity over there, a lot of tidying up of the front of the house and giving a fresh coat of paint to the front door and painting the pickets on the fence and everything. And things are just a little spruced up here and there. And I think it's nearly time. It's time for them to cruise on into the next chapter of their life.
Oh, so you're now the gatekeeper of the Zach in terms of when people should move along.
Look, I'd never knock on the door and tell them, but if they came over and asked me, I'd say absolutely. It's time to go. Time for you to go.
I don't remember you being this vocal about the widow and the widower shacking up and moving in together in some condominium.
They were fantastic people. I liked them all, but it was, time for them to move on as well.
But these people, you think...
Get out.
You see them pulling out, they wave. You're doing the heave-ho with the thumb.
I may, if I'm having a conversation with them, I may drop in the, so what day does the moving truck get here? Even though they've never mentioned...
Right. Need any help with the big items? I know a guy.
So where's the new place? What? Guys, you going to a condo?
Apartment or a
lake house?
Snowbirds? Or
yeah, you heading down to Florida?
Yeah. Nice little 3 and 2 down there.
We're going Pensacola?
Here, Sarasota's gorgeous. People rave about Tampa at this time of year.
Uh-huh.
Stay out of the water. So you are hell-bent.
Oh, boy. I'm not hell-bent. The people that are there, perfectly nice people.
Doesn't seem like it.
But, boy, does it get my juices flowing.
Just knowing how it's going to be for sale?
Look.
Why?
Because I like being able to look it up on Zillow.
Sure.
See what the place is like. I know that you're the same way.
I've got 3 on my road right now, Steve, that I track daily.
Oh, there's nothing I love more than being a Zillow creep.
Right. For me, we are talking about moving in the next year or so.
Sure. You're looking at it more for home value.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So I'm just curious to see what these around us are going for.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be lying. Of course, I'm going to be...
No, you're always thinking about what your house is
always
worth.
Thinking about the home value. Look, you know us. We could move at the drop of a hat.
Listen, there is a nice Zillow advertisement for partially complete garage in your near future.
Yep.
If the right home were to pop up.
I'd knock that out. Don't worry.
Oh, you, knock it down or finish it?
Yeah.
Slab of concrete in the back because you're taking the lumber with you. The
yeah,
lumber's
exactly,
valuable.
Exactly. It's a half basketball court back there.
That's how you advertise it.
Yeah, right. Just get one of those Nerf hoops. Oh, I have one. Never mind. I'll just move it out back.
And then your own just handmade spray paint idea of a 3-point line and a free throw line.
Yeah.
And then a very crude NBA drawing.
Well, we were yesterday we were on a walk through the neighborhood with the kids, and there's one house for sale. So, of course, I pull out my phone, I look it up on Zillow, and it seems really underpriced. So, and it said pending, which didn't surprise me. So I'm thinking, maybe they priced it low, get a little bit of a bidding war.
Yeah, it seems like there's 2 options. Either price it at the price you're going to want, or price it low and have some offers.
But then I went through, I'm looking at the pictures. I was like, oh, man, this thing, it needs updates. It looks like it was updated around 1995, and they haven't touched anything since. But I was like, man, that would be a cool house. Because it's like set back, and there's a lot of trees in the front and everything. And there's a little lake across the street from it. Did you know there's lakes in my neighborhood?
I would have never guessed.
Like
a pond type thing? Like obviously not boats.
No, there are boats on
boats?
Yeah. They're like you can attest to this. We joke a lot, but I live in a typical
a big suburb.
A pretty typical suburb where it's just cul-de-sacs and houses and 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom houses. And yeah, there's a lake. And I want to be in on that lake. Like there's a sign next to it that says private access.
Years ago we joked about you becoming Pool Steve.
Yeah.
Based on your history as Jet Steve.
Yeah.
And now we've entered the third iteration
Lake Steve.
of Lake Steve.
Lake Steve is the most likely of all of these.
I feel like it is easier. Obviously, you have less to, you don't have to commute to a storage unit 30 minutes away. You don't have to.
All right, that's it. I'm going to stop cutting my hair now. Got to grow it back for when Jet Steve is ripping across the lake. Granted, this lake is maybe 150 yards long, so
it's going to be a quick rip.
It's going to be short-lived. And I'm pretty sure that
you're going to look real cool while it happens.
Pretty sure that there's a sign around there somewhere that says like no wake or no motors or something.
Yeah, so it's meant for paddle boats and like not
canoe.
longboards. Yeah, paddle boards.
Stand up paddle boards.
Yes,
yeah.
And you're going to be
I'm going to be out there 7 a.m. on a Sunday just
ripping on one of those stand up Sea-Doos. Doing circles around these kayakers until they fall into the water.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd like to be a lake guy, but you only want to move a couple 100 yards.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a quick move.
You could walk half of your belongings down there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you could drag the lumber from the garage you have half built.
Yeah. I'm going to build a boathouse now.
Listen, the garage has a new meaning. The Manchi's got to go. You can need a spot for the jet ski and the boat.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's delightful.
This is exciting.
I want to get to, we talked about it at the start, you mean, refusing to make a friend, and you excitedly last week, very excitedly, telling me that you did,
look, I'm
not
always,
just want,
I'm
but
always,
that you did make a friend.
Always in friend-making mode. Always in friend-making mode. And,
God,
nothing makes...
There's no mode worse. Like, I'm thinking of
is there a mode worse than friend-making mode?
Because it seems like there's so many people, whether it's a social gathering or whatever, and it's a mix of people you know and don't know. I just envision you with whether it be a can or something, and your head is like peacocked above the rest, looking for someone that you don't know, so you can then approach them blindly. Yeah.
You're not far from reality. And let me tell you that nothing makes your neighbors more chatty than when you got a big load of lumber sitting in the backyard.
There's two types. There's the guy, kind of like you and a lot like me, like, oh, maybe they're renovating to move. And then there's what I'm presuming you're about to tell me. Nosy neighbor. Yeah. Wants to know what you're doing, how long it's going to take, how much that costs you. All of the minutia.
Some of that, yeah.
Okay. Lay it out for me.
So when all the lumber got dropped off in the driveway, again, I told you it took me like 2 days to haul it all into the backyard. So I got stacks of lumber in the backyard.
10-hour shift.
More. Higher.
It was more?
Yeah, it was probably...
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe 10 to 12 hours or so it took me. So I get it all into the backyard. And the night before I'm going to start construction on this, I was out there... I was just doing some preliminary stuff like measuring, marking on the concrete, kind of stacking stuff up in an order that would make it easier for me to get to things that I need in the morning.
Yep.
So I don't spend half the day moving this, moving that to get to that. And I'm out there and I'm writing some stuff down and I hear, "Are you starting to build tomorrow?"
Oh, boy.
And I turn around.
Now, you're leaning old with that voice.
Yeah.
Is that just...
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Good. Trust me.
Boy, super thrilled that you made a new geriatric friend.
Well, I can tell you exactly how old he is because that was one of the first things he told me.
Oh, God almighty.
That the next day was his 70th birthday. And I said, "Oh, that's very nice.
So you got a lot in common."
So I turned around and said, yeah, tomorrow's a big day. "Oh, what size are you going with for the building?" And I told him, "Yeah, I'm doing one 30 by 36 down at the lake house, but having trouble getting a contractor to blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, sounds good." And then we just kept chatting. At one point I said, "Sir, what's your name? We've never met." Because this is not one of our direct neighbors. It's kind of a diagonal...
But isn't the Zach?
No.
Okay.
He's on his own. He's on the adjacent Zach.
Okay, so is he the behind Zach?
Yeah.
where he would know the birders.
I'm not sure. There's a point where like 5 or 6 yards kind of come together in a point. So I'm diagonal to him. He's diagonal to the birders.
Got it. So that's the geriatric Zach.
The Jerry Zach, yeah.
Yes, obviously.
So I asked him his name, and he said, I'm Mike. I said, good to meet you, Mike. I'm Steve.
Mike, the soon-to-be 70-year-old.
Now, this is somebody who I've never seen. The only time I've seen him, and I don't mean like face-to-face, but I've seen him out in his yard in the fall. I've talked about him before. He's the guy that is basically sitting on his riding mower while the leaves are falling, and he's just looking.
Waiting for him to drop.
And once it hits the ground, zoom, mows it over. So he was...
I hate that guy.
During the fall, no lie, he's out there with the big headlight. He's got one of those like tower lights that you would see at a construction site that that contractors have. It kind of lights up a big area. He has one of those in his yard, lighting up the entire yard, and then the headlight on his mower, and he's just, but he's out there until 10 o'clock at night in the fall. That is not
hounding these leads.
Any amount of exaggeration at all. So I was already like, yeah, it's this guy. Turns out, super nice guy. But when he introduced himself to me, see, this is where I think that you're going to kind of be on board with it.
Of you becoming a friend?
I think you'll be okay with it.
You've got a hard sales pitch, but I'm here for it. I'm an open mind. If anybody would, a couple words to describe me is open-minded.
Yeah.
Willing to hear.
Kyle,
willing to listen.
Kyle, I think he's a friend from the old country.
No.
Because his last name was the most Italian last name I've ever heard, and it was about 16 syllables long.
You wait a minute. Are you telling me?
His name was like Mike DiFrancesco Rinaldi Carmelucci Baramado.
This guy has connections.
Yeah.
And 2, most definitely has a recipe for sauce that he's been using for 50 years.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
See?
I love it. Did he sound?
Not so much, but I figure...
He's been here for a long time, right?
Yeah, a bunch of years, because he's no doubt in witness relocation. He's been in the Midwest for 45 years since since the Lufthansa heist. So...
This is... Okay,
so
listen.
So we had a great short conversation, maybe 5 minutes or so.
So he talked literal shop with you.
Talked shop with me.
About the garage, building it, and all the things going into it.
And at first, I was a little bit worried because I thought it was going to be like you were saying. Oh, how late are you going to be working on it? But he seemed genuinely just a interested neighbor.
You think he wants to get his hands dirty?
The next day, we start working. My buddy Ben and I, we started around 9:30, 10 a.m. Mike DiFrancesco Luciano Pavarotti was out at the fence about 5 minutes into our build.
So he heard like one nail hit wood. Because I'm assuming you guys are straight hammer.
Oh, no.
You don't even know where you're going, but you're like, hey, I got to start hammering stuff.
I'm nailing walls to trees.
So 9 a.m. By 9:02, Steve's got a handful of nails, like one hanging in your mouth.
Yeah.
3 in your hand. You're hammering away.
Yeah.
So Mike DiLucenzo Pavarotti hears those first nails hit wood/tree.
And he's right out there. Cup of coffee in hand.
Now, you don't have a connection between the yards.
No. So he is... Now, the previous day, he was about 15, 20 feet from the fence. He was kind of out by his shed in the middle of doing something. And that's our conversation. It was a bit of a distance conversation. Well, he's warming up to us now because he was right up against the fence.
Yeah, no, I got a Comanche. Huh? It's a Jeep Comanche LJ.
MJ.
MJ.
So, he's getting comfortable now. He's right up against the fence. And now we're really talking shop. Now we going to the pressure treated on those bottom studs there.
God, they're just the dumbest questions. I'm figuratively inside getting earbuds.
So Mike DiVincenzo Pavarotti goes back inside. 45 minutes later, I turn around. The guy's standing in my yard. He's walked through my neighbor's yard, or from his yard, through my neighbor's yard, into my yard,
So he
and
has
all the way back.
He's ripped it all the way off.
We are pop-in friends now. He's standing right there. He's talking to us about what gauge nails we're using, what the plan is for the trusses. Mike DiVincenzo Pavarotti he's invested.
So this guy's built some things.
He's built a thing or two.
And he's to the point in his life now where obviously he's maybe a little bit bored. He's got a house that's done. It's complete. He doesn't have any big projects. So
Not a leaf to be seen in the yard.
At this point, Little Italy, you.
Is that my nickname?
Yes.
God, please. Please.
Puts out on the poll as well. Heavy Steve polls this week, but that's okay. I like when that
right.
happens. Is Steve's nickname Little Italy?
Oh my God. Nothing would make me more honored.
If he came over, whenever, next Saturday morning, this morning, it doesn't matter. And he had, 2 mugs.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Little Italy, top of the morning.
His mug says Mike DiVincenzo Pavarotti.
And yours
Says Little Italy.
Little Italy.
Look, I feel as though me and Mike DiVincenzo Pavarotti are just days away from him showing up at an odd hour with a briefcase saying, "You hold on to this for me? What's in it, Mike? Don't worry about it."
You got any room under that concrete there in that garage? How about I reimburse you? Make you an offer you can't refuse. Rebuild that corner of the garage.
Right.
And
Horse head in the bed.
Say you leave the gate open tonight. And there's a hole in the yard. You woke up in the morning, that hole was filled.
I don't like where this is going, Mike.
Hey, Little Italy, nothing to it,
Bingada bangada boom.
Okay, so he's in the yard now.
He's in the yard.
And so is he just talking you and Ben's ear off?
He is just chatting away.
Now, how's Ben with this? Because this is a big enough project where you're kind of like, it's daunting, right? And you just
We got a lot to do.
You just want to get moving.
Yeah. Now, I mean, in his defense, he wasn't right up in our face or anything. He was hanging back.
At any point, did he drop you one of those? You sure you want to do that?
There was one point where we were doing. So we built the two walls first that have. It's just a wall. There's no windows, no doors. Mm-hmm. So we started with the easy ones. Built them. Stood those things up. By the way, we stood the walls up and thought, oh boy, these are really tall. Didn't realize how tall 10 feet actually was until we stood the walls up.
Trying to lift the 10-footers up. Yeah,
they had a little weight to them. So then we're framing the third wall, which has the door, like just the regular entry door, the service door. And so Ben's asking me, hey, how long does this have to be? Where does this have to go? And I was like, 82 inches or something. So he cuts it to 82 inches. And just as he's about to start nailing it in, Mike DiVincenzo Pavarotti says, whoa, yeah, you gotta back this up here a little bit. And Ben is a super nice guy. He just looks at him. He goes, yeah, I got it. And
okay.
I was like, oh boy.
Well, glad to hear Ben's on my side. Because I also...
Whoa. You got to pick a side here, man.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
No.
You're not on Team DiVincenzo Pavarotti, Little Italy?
I like the idea of DiVincenzo Pavarotti.
Okay.
But I don't like the idea of DiVincenzo Pavarotti standing there with his coffee in the morning, eyeballing 82 inches from a distance and telling your friend building a garage that he needs to do something different.
So you were on... So he overstepped at this point.
Nosy.
Okay.
It's the nosy neighbor.
Okay.
It was a matter of time before it got there. I'm surprised Mr. DiVincenzo Pavarotti got there as fast as he did. Crossing that fence threshold was a big move.
That was something.
From MDP. And
I love it. I love that he has a nickname already. I love that I have a nickname already.
MDP in Little Italy.
So needless to say, I'm thrilled about this blossoming relationship.
When is the next full garage build day?
I'm hoping to do some today.
But it's not like a set Ben coming over,
No.
big part of the project type of thing. Okay.
No, that'll be hopefully within the next week. I got to get my roof trusses in place.
Are you planning on MDP swinging by unannounced again once he starts hearing the rumblings of construction?
Boy, it seems like I don't really have control of that.
At what point do you simply loop him in and say, you know what, Mike?
Come on over.
Come on over.
Bring your hammer.
You got some gloves, hard hat, some steel toes.
Oh,
Come on over here and I'll let you, start on the door. Right? Just to get him to shut up.
I would never say that about my friend Mike
No.
DiVincenzo Pavarotti.
Absolutely not. I wouldn't accuse you of such. I guess I'm happy for you. It fits the narrative that the friend you would make would be a 70-year-old geriatric who lives behind you.
I'm just waiting because I know that it's going to come to this day. It'll be a Sunday, probably 2 o'clock in the fall. MDP is going to knock on the door. He's going to have a crock pot in his hands. Oh, my old lady made some extra meatballs. You want? And I'm going to say, now I'm part of the family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you're going to have to, you're being brought in, and there's going to be some conversation between Mike and whoever else is there, not just his wife.
Yeah.
About the business.
Yeah,
and,
who's his wife's name, no doubt, is Rosalie.
And they're absolutely watching you from the side to see how you're reacting when they talk.
Yeah.
About the business. To see if you...
Hey, who does your trash collection anyway? I get you a better deal.
To see if you, Little Italy, can be trusted enough.
So, when this day comes, and he brings the crock pot of meatballs and the Sunday sauce...
Of course.
You want that call, right? You want that invite to come over for dinner? Of course, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because that's what time you do Sunday dinner.
Question. But there's enough food there that 3 o'clock dinner for the Sunday sauce and the meatballs is going to hold you over until Monday breakfast.
From lunch, maybe. Dinner, probably.
Yeah, you're going to ask, what can I provide? They're going to say, cannoli. That's it.
Right.
And you're way too full to eat cannoli.
Then you, at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon in West Michigan, then have to try and find a non-store-bought cannoli.
Right. I'm Googling or YouTubing cannoli recipes.
Oh, no. No.
Is that cheese in the center? What is that? How do they get the shells so crispy?
So that's the latest here on the Zach.
I'm thrilled for you.
I'm thrilled for me, too.
I am much less thrilled for Ben, who seems like a guy who just wants to come in and help and get the work done. And he's got to look over at you, arm on fence post.
Now, Ben did say at one point I had to run into the garage to grab some tools or something. I came back out. So it was just Ben and Mike DiVincenzo Pavarotti.
Okay.
And so a couple minutes later, MDP leaves. And Ben said, yeah, he was over there in the corner taking a picture of something.
Listen, and again, we've talked about your property, the estate. Yeah. And you have enough earth and trees and area that's wooded.
Yeah.
That I'm telling you, if this guy's connected.
Right. He's scoping out possible dump points. Before we move on, I need to tell you, in the process of getting ready for the garage build, I had to cut down a little sapling, another decent sized tree, probably 6 inches in diameter. Just move clear a lot of stuff out of the way. The concrete guy came in and he had this little, backhoe, front end loader, or whatever looking machine where he was pushing some dirt around. Now, we've talked at great length, possibly at too great of a length on this show about the treasures I've found in this yard. And what would you say
a lot of them by Toby.
Yeah. Now, what would you say is the granddaddy of them all that kind of got the ball rolling on this Steve's Facebook Marketplace giveaway garbage sale?
Boy, I remember. Didn't he? And correct me if I'm wrong. Did he not find Toby an exercise bike?
He found an old exercise bike.
He found, were there not shingles?
Plenty of shingles.
I think you were concerned he was eating.
Yeah, old deck boards.
Deck boards.
But what would you say is the granddaddy of them all for the giveaways that I've done?
For my money, it's the concrete cylinder bird bath base.
Concrete cylinder bird bath base, which came with a free
rotted piece of wood with nails sticking out of it.
With rusty nails sticking out of it.
And when you say it's a package deal, like, you don't get one without the other. If you want the rusty nails coming out of the wood, you're taking the cylinder bird bath base. If you want the cylinder bird bath base, you're taking the rusted nails.
The woman that showed up, she wanted the cylinder bird bath base. Okay. So I made her load the rotted wood with rusty nails first before she got to the real gem.
You don't want any swindling.
No. So this, all of this work in the yard, of course, I've been out there. I've been out in that part of the yard more times than I ever have in my life, noticing things a little bit more. And after the prep work was done for the concrete, I was walking around and I noticed something. Something was just barely peeking out of the dirt. And I said, "You got to be kidding me." Immediately took out my phone, took a picture of it.
Now, before I look, is this something that to you is kind of embarrassing because you've lived here for how many years now?
No, again, it hadn't been visible.
Okay.
It was uncovered.
Okay.
But I need you to turn your head 90 degrees to the left, look up at the Tron, and see what I found.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
It's a tan.
Yeah.
I would guess 24 inches tall, maybe taller.
Maybe 18.
Disc looking item that looks to be like clay or concrete.
Yeah.
So my immediate thought is that you found the missing piece to the concrete cylinder bird bath base.
That's right. That's right, I did. Turns out it was here all along.
And we have the bath!
So now the only logical thing to do is find some garbage that I want to give away too, and do another package deal.
This is an incredible discovery. Because for years you had kind of wondered how one was there and not the other. It never really made sense.
I figured it broke.
What was going on with this previous family that they were just burying stuff?
I don't know.
Or just lobbing their stuff out there and letting years of trees, leaves, and growth take it over.
Just letting nature do its thing.
This mixed in with the trash bags in the attic of their kids' stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like this was the garbage family of the Zach before you moved in.
Yeah, they definitely were. Definitely were.
Well, you've got building going on. No doubts you'll have like lumber remnants or something that you can put in a wheelbarrow and say, you want the bird bath? You take the garbage.
I've been pretty good about cleaning up and getting rid of stuff all throughout this process. You go out there now, there's not any garbage laying around. There's some sawdust, but there's not piles of crap wood or anything like that, or nails all over the ground. What do I do with it? Do I keep it? I feel like I need to keep it and display it somehow.
It's very yellowed.
It is,
It would need a real power washing.
I could drag the power washer out and clean it up a bit.
Do you know? Seek out that lady and see if she's willing to part with the holiest of grails.
Hey, about 5 years ago.
You're not going to believe this. I need that back.
Or for just $79. I'll sell you the top. We'll complete this.
That's right.
So, man, that was a big discovery. And
this is exciting.
It took every ounce of, every fiber of my being to not send that to you immediately.
You're closing loops and finding more garbage. What else do you,
if I could just figure out why there are so many trash bags buried in the yard.
Maybe MDP is now.
No.
Wait a minute.
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean like trash bags filled with stuff. I mean, you know how when you're planting a garden, you might put down that weed barrier fabric.
Yeah.
I think that the previous owners were too cheap to buy that, so they instead put down garbage bags.
Okay.
Because every so often, if you're in the backyard, you'll catch a glimpse of a little flap of a garbage bag sticking up out of the ground, and I'll go over and I'll pull it out of the ground, and it'll just be an empty bag flattened out on the ground.
Because I kind of have, based on what we know about this house now, my jump.
There's going to be bodies everywhere back there.
Is that MDP is curious because he's seen some construction.
Okay.
And so he wants to keep a little bit of an eye on this construction.
Make sure that I don't go too close to the burial plots.
Yeah, maybe the bird bath cylinder was, a marker for something a little deeper. Maybe the bird bath itself was another marker. Maybe the exercise bike was, old Runnin' Ronnie. He was buried, 8 feet deep.
Runnin' Ronnie?
Well, they put the exercise bike on top of him, right? We'll never forget where we laid Runnin' Ronnie to rest.
Triple R.
By putting this Bowflex on top of his body.
Oh, man.
That's fantastic. Listen, we didn't get to any. I still need to know any of the tips and secrets behind the build. What's going on? You said you had some happenings that I would be curious, that I would be interested in. So we'll have to get to that next week.
Yeah, I got to remember them too.
But hey, next week I need to tell you about, because we're going to be recording that before I actually go. Me looking forward to a big event. Big event.
Okay.
Event you've kind of gone to one with me before.
Boy, we haven't done a lot together.
Going to a big time wrestling show next week.
You going to WrestleFest?
Going to WrestleFest Palooza. We'll get to that.
Is there a chance? Is there a chance that we could finally have the inaugural episode of WrestleCast?
Yeah, are you coming with?
What? No, not me. Wasn't it going to be you and your friend?
Oh yeah,
you and your friend Jason.
Yeah,
right?
we were going to do that. No,
so that's off the table.
Yeah, not interested.
I believe that I'd even made a logo for it and everything.
I don't remember that. Either way, it sounds like more work and somehow less money than ever.
Hold on, I need to do a quick search here. I'm pretty sure WrestleCast.
I don't think it ever got that far into the planning stage.
Name contains WrestleCast. Images, maybe? Yeah, I guess must have deleted it.
You also gave up on it?
I mean, there's only so much I could do.
Yeah, I've got the big wrestling show, but now that
all right, so you got WrestleFest coming up.
And now that you mention it, there's a lot. You mentioned another podcast. Might be a chance I'm quitting this one.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait.
We'll get to that on the A-Bit.
Boy, I feel like you really just dropped that on me.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, this is a me decision. You don't need to be kept in the loop.
Okay, so here we are, 378 episodes in.
Really?
And are you okay? Just tell me this: Are you going to give me an even 400? Okay, so I can't count on you for the next 21 weeks.
No. If this thing comes to fruition, good chance this is the last you hear my voice.
Okay.
Too busy.
Well, you got
too focused.
You got about 90 seconds if you want to say your goodbyes.
Listen, it's been a podcast. It's ran for, you think you just said, around 370 some episodes?
78 episodes. Okay. Wow.
You had a couple kids during that duration, and dogs and cats. And
building garage? Maybe.
So,
I wonder if MDP is
available. So, I guess have a good one.
At Steve and Kyle?
Yeah, you should have put the question mark if you tweet us.
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Well, I guess we'll see if there is a 379. That's it, huh? That's all you got to say.
That's it. Next week.
Can people follow you anywhere?
Nah, I'm deleting everything if I get out of here.
All right. Well, that was abrupt. I got to say.
Well, we always said that's how it's going to end.
I got to say, I respect it. Talk to you next week?